Guys, I just cheered myself up. I gotta tell you something. First, I gotta talk about this channel. You might not believe me. You really don't have to. I don't like being a YouTuber. I really don't like it. Okay? I like being a writer, writing articles and being anonymous. Yeah, I don't mind people know my name, putting my name to articles. But I really don't like being a YouTuber. I don't like making these videos. I really don't. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be another Asmund Gold or Mr. Beast, yeah? And recognized on the streets. I just want a peaceful life. But I can't, can I? I gotta do it. And so, how do I get through it? Well, first of all, let me tell you, it's hard to sit here and think, make a video, and you don't want to do it, but you know it's got to be done. So what I do is I try to make it a bit of fun and have a laugh doing it, and then it doesn't seem so bad, yeah? Routine in the morning. I always shave. I make a point of shaving, yeah? Oh, and then I finally pluck up the courage to sit down, drag a few images together. I do it reluctantly and slowly, putting off the moment that I have to talk to you. And don't get me wrong, I love you. I really do. Because if you're on this channel, you're a patriot. And I don't see you as subscribers or viewers or whatever. And I don't see myself being here to entertain you. If I make you smile now and again, that's good, yeah? But I don't see you as subscribers. I see you as fellow patriots. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers. That's how I see us, guys. That's how I see you guys. And so I try to be as respectful to you as I would to any of my real life brothers, yeah? The other thing I have to do, and this sucks up so much time these days, are the comments. And I know that sometimes I miss them. And I'm sorry about that. Sometimes there are unpleasant comments. Got different tactics for that. Some people I just block so you never ever see them again, the trolls and that. But opposition ones I don't mind letting through, providing they're polite. But then I'll get comments saying, oh, you're too scared to answer. And I think, what the hell is he talking about? And then I have to go rooting through all the articles to see if I've missed anything from him in the past. And it all sucks up time. But sometimes you get a comment like the one I'm about to show you that just asks to be noticed and answered and responded to. So we're going to go and have a look at this comment now from this guy. I'll read it. Came in 4 hours ago. Yeah. I'll just read it, shall I? It was from Citizen 78 4 hours ago. I think Paul's art is in the right place, but he backed the wrong horse. Just because he is friends with Ben Habib doesn't mean we should vote for him. Restore is the only serious party who can turn things around in the UK. This affects me personally as I have a foreign spouse, and we have to meet the Home Office's strict financial requirements to live here. £88,500 in the bank. Yeah, I want to check those figures. This is true. Our immigration system or living year system is completely nuts. Plus £5,500 for a visa. No right to a family life in the UK for me and my wife. And I was born in East London and lived in the UK for 30 years. I'm no ethno-nationalist, obviously, but we can all agree that immigration to the UK is out of control. I'm biased, but I think this long-term visas and citizenship should only be for partners of native-born Brits. Well, this gentleman said, yeah, it's interesting, and I'll be talking about this in a later part of the video, which will be about secularism. So I reply, thank you for your informative comments. Your story is touching, and I honestly feel for you, but it does highlight some of the problems Restore Britain are going to have to deal with. It is something we're going to have to deal with. Right. He replies, yes, indeed, appreciate the reply. Like I said, Restore are the only ones talking about guys like me. To make matters even more complicated, my wife's country, Bhutan, oh my God, I'm trying to remember where that is in the world. I can't, it's gone from my mind. Doesn't allow any foreigners to live there. That's interesting. You have to pay $100 a day just to be in the country. Flights are also triple priced for foreigners. Anyway, it's a complicated debate, but it is a debate that I think still needs to be had, and only Restore have shown any interest will sub to your channel. I will be doing a video right after I finish checking the comments, and that's what I'm doing now. That's an interesting story, isn't it, guys? And it's one that we're going to have to be addressed. And I'll be talking about that in the video today, which is going to be about secularism. So this video is that part 2. It's a video I've been putting off for a really, really long time. My early videos said that started to travel towards Belfast, where I spent many years, as you know, working in operations in Northern Ireland. But I always stopped short when I arrived at Belfast in the previous videos. This time we're going to land in Belfast. And let's go back to the bunker. Let's have some fun, is there? Just for a second before we get serious and talk about people going up to the pearly gates early, people doing terrible things to each other because they're different religions. Before we do that, let's talk about some of what I think is funny. Imagine Patriot channels as being a TV series like, I don't know, Dallas or Breaking Bad, that have been running for years, and then a newcomer comes in. What are they to make of it? I tell you what made me say this is, I saw a guy come in and said, who's Jeff? And I can imagine a couple of them going, Jeff. Well, he said that he was a patriot and he was in the armed forces and everybody trusted him. Oh, right. Well, what about him? Well, he's a bad guy, really. Are you sure? I thought that was the one who was in the army and he was out in... He lived in England and then he went to Northern Ireland. Is that the one? No. You're thinking of Richard. This is Jeff. Is Jeff the one with the ball one? Yeah. Well, who's that guy in Spain then? With all the bling? Is he the bad guy? Well, we don't know, do we? Some say he is, some say he's not. He looks like a bad guy. He's got all the stuff. He's got the tats. That doesn't mean he's the bad guy, dear. Well, he looks like a bad guy. What's his name? His name is Paul. Paul. I thought Paul was the one with that thing, and he said he was a bad guy. So which one's the good guy, which one's the bad guy? Well, we don't know yet, do we? We've got to wait till the end. Well, when's the end? I don't know. When Rupert comes. Who the fuck is Rupert? And this is how I get through making a video. Anyhow, I've put it long enough, haven't I? I'm going to have to go to Belfast. Oh dear. Oh dear, dear, dear. HMS Maidstone. Birthed in Belfast. Birthed in the heart of Belfast. Yeah. She was originally a troop carrying ship. She could carry 2,000 troops. Then she was taken to Belfast as an accommodation ship. And then for a while, she was a prison ship. The IRA, prisoners on there was a daring escape. And it was daring, no doubt about it. The IRA had brave people in them. They really did. That ship there, well, I might as well tell you my duties on there. I told you how I was involved in serving aboard ships that would do gun running. Pause, Paul. Okay, I told you I was serving aboard the first Operation Granada Patrol, 1969, London, Derry. Derry to the Catholics. First time I learnt about Orange Men. I didn't have a clue what Orange Men were. Yeah, I didn't know a single word of the sash. Later on I'd be singing it. I didn't have a clue what I was in for. Well, because I was experienced in Operation Granada, I belonged to a small group, I think 3 or 4. I was referred to as the man in the suitcase. I would just go anywhere, wherever they needed a competent radio operator. And so I would serve aboard lots of different warships involved off the coast of Ireland. Anyhow, eventually I got sick of living in a suitcase or returning on my rest times, living in a room on my own, just drinking bottles of whiskey or sometimes Gilbert's gin and playing Rod Stewart tracks. So I volunteered to go out to Ireland and serve aboard HMS Maidstone. It wasn't much resistance to that request. Nobody wanted to go. But I did get paid an extra 50p a day, which incidentally was the price of a pint of lager then. Yeah. So, what did I do aboard that ship? Well, ostensibly to look after the communications and liaise with the warships that came alongside that were on Operation Granada. But the things I'd done there aboard that ship would be like, I organised a library for the ship. Yeah, I got a library going on there. One of the more pleasant duties was I'd have to vet young women who would come on board the ship. They would be given passes. These were usually loyalist young ladies, and I would have to photograph them, get all their details, stuff like that. And I became friends with lots of them. Now once a week they would come on board the ship, and there was a big room there that we had as a bar, and we would have discos and stuff like that. And sometimes I'd organise discos for the ships on Operation Granada. Yeah. On board that ship with operations had a huge wall, and on that wall was deck, bulkhead really, was a big map, and on it we'd stick pins of the types of attacks that were going on. We're talking now, let's say this is around about 75, 76, yeah? We'll come to the end of my time later. And we'd put maps in, an explosion, an assassination, a kneecapping, all kinds of tags, different colours, and the information I had access to, were I to have copies of some of the information of those documents and manuals I had, I would be thrown in jail uh, just for having a copy of them, because it contained dangerous material, if you like. These were training manuals from both sides of the factions out there. And at the time you had the UVF, UDA, UFF, yeah. So UVF, Ulster Volunteer Force. I told you in a previous video how I was given one of their little bronze badges as a pass for when I was in loyalist areas. I became friendly with lots of loyalists. It was that which made me go off and join the National Front when I left the Navy. The way our servicemen had been treated out there and ignored by our government. Then you had the UFF, Ulster Volunteer Force, and the UDA, the Ulster Defence Association. The police then were the RUC, the Royal Ulster Constabulary. They should never have let them change their name. They were the RUC, and they were brave men, and they died. Boy, did they die. And then, of course, they were the soldiers, and I had it lucky compared to the soldiers on the streets. I didn't have to worry about a sniper lining me up in his sights. Coming down the gangplanks of the Maidstone there was a thing called a sanger. You can see it mid-picture. I felt sorry for the troops in there. I really did. I'd become friendly with them. I couldn't have stood there, being a target. Later, I'll link to a site that plays songs written by one of my friends who served out there. Yeah. Strange times. So I didn't have to do that. I wore plain clothes. Sometimes I had to wear plain clothes. I carried a 9mm concealed. And we did things like take documents down into bandit territory, stuff that couldn't be transported by hand, sometimes go off. I was riding shotgun at the time for these missions, and we would go off someplace and just drop off documents, meet an helicopter, usually I think they were the Sioux helicopters. I can't remember. No, it might not have been the Sioux. It was the smaller ones. I can't remember the helicopters. And that's what we done. You know what happened to those guys? Was it sergeants, corporals that got caught and the fate that befell them? That's the kind of job I was doing out there. And I hated the IRA with a passion. I really hated them. People think, you think, oh, Ireland today. Ireland today. When it started to happen and the immigrants, the settlers, the colonizers started to arrive in the Republic of Ireland, I thought, people thought, ha, the IRA's not going to have none of that. They'll kick them out. They kicked the English out, yeah, up in Ulster. Yeah, you think the IRA or PIRA, the provisional IRA, or IRA, official IRA, so many bloody IRAs. Well, we got rid of some of them, reduced their numbers, that's for sure, but they certainly reduced our numbers as well. Do you think they are going to put up with these immigrants? And they do. And you thought, these people will think, why are they doing that? And the truth is, IRA Sinn Féin, IRA are international Marxists. They want to flood Ireland with immigrants. They don't want English or Welsh or Scots there because they are white and they want to destroy the country. Never forget that Sinn Féin are really Marxists. They are communists. It's as simple as that. Anyhow, enough of that. That's what I was doing out there. And now it gets unpleasant. You know what? I think I'm going to make a part 3 because there's a lot to tell you. A lot about some of the things we did to each other, to those who weren't on our side. What men done to young girls for smiling at a soldier on the street. I'll tell you. But I'll tell you in the next one. I didn't want to do it.